Hey beautiful people, it's Alison Haitana here. I'm an intentional creativity teacher, shamanic practitioner and intuitive intelligence trainer. So I'm going to come to you live every day around this time for 5 days of intentional creativity. And it's a pretty simple practice. Anyone can do it anywhere, no matter where you are in the world. All you need is a pen or a pencil, sorry the light's a bit cheesy, and a piece of paper. Now it can be lined, unlined, whatever. It can be a piece of paper out of a journal, and what we're going to be doing these 5 days is something called metacognitive drawing. And so metacognitive drawing, so the metacognitive component is basically thinking while thinking. So it's a way to kind of get inside our consciousness to find what kind of gold there is inside. And drawing is basically just drawing. So if you were to put it together, it is thinking while drawing. And it's a really simple process. It doesn't need to take very long. 5 to 10 minutes is kind of all you need to be able to shift your perspective or shift your consciousness into a different direction. And so you're going to have to excuse my setup for this very first one. I don't have a like a dock or anything like that, so I'm going to move the camera around when I start to do the process, just so that you can see what I'm doing. So what I'll do is I'll explain the practice, and then I will do the practice, and I'll also show you some examples of what metacognitive drawing can look like as well. Although this is just what my drawing looks like, your drawing will probably be something completely different. Okay, so essentially what happens for the complete practice is that we drop down into an altered state of consciousness, which is moving down out of the beta brainwave state that we're normally in, which is that kind of like higher state of function and action and moving out in the world, and drop down into theta. And that allows us spaciousness and be able to access that point in between, which is essentially the voice of our soul, or our consciousness talking to us. This is a really simple thing to do. All it requires is breathing. Now, breath is the best way to do this because it's something we have with us all the time. We don't need any tools. We are what we need to be doing. So breathing is essentially, for me, breathing in through the nose, really deep, and then breathing out through the mouth and elongating the out breath, maybe a couple of seconds more than the in breath. So the elongation of the out breath allows that signaling to the parasympathetic nervous system that we're in a calm and kind of safe environment, and so it allows us to drop more easily into that altered brainwave state. Once we do the breath, then we're just going to do a short coherence meditation, which is essentially linking up in with using our finger. That's why I'm doing it. Linking up the brain, if you wanted to, it's the throat, the heart, the stomach, and the womb. So kind of like drawing this out in space to link all of these parts together into coherency, and so alignment. So that's kind of what it is. And then after that, we'll be doing the metacognitive drawing component of it. And essentially with metacognitive drawing within intentional creativity, we have an inquiry. And so this inquiry can be anything, what am I feeling today? Who am I becoming? What is consciousness? What is imagination? All of these kind of questions that we want to find potential insight to, we can ask ourselves, which is asking the pen and paper. And so we always have an inquiry, and then once we have the inquiry, we go into the metacognitive drawing component of it. And so this is essentially, so I'm right-handed. So for metacognitive drawing, it's more, so I'm not going to say it's essential because I use my right hand as well as my left. Sometimes more insights come through if you use your non-dominant hand, because there is less of an opportunity for the conscious reasoning mind to come in and kind of interrupt what's going on. And so use your non-dominant hand if you can. You can also close your eyes, which also helps to kind of filter out that conscious reasoning mind, so that we're in this kind of space of almost nothingness, which is where pure potentiality exists. And so it is basically doodling, but it's doodling with intention. And so we have two sides of the paper, which is what I'm going to do today. So there'll be two inquiries that we have. And so if you can see, all of the black stuff over here is my pen. So that is kind of the metacognitive drawing component. And then this is the second inquiry with all of the stuff in black as the metacognitive component. And then what's happened is I've come out, or, you know, moved my pen into my dominant hand and grabbed crayons and colouring and pencils and stuff. And then what I've done is I've gone in and written words that have come to me from this inquiry, and also seen shapes and images and kind of symbols and glyphs and stuff like that that I've highlighted in another colour. And I've done the same on this side as well, and kind of made a face and stuff. So the black writing for me is the metacognitive drawing component, and then the second part, which is the coloured part, is where I've kind of gone and went, oh, that's kind of interesting. That shape looks like a heart, and there's a person's face that I'm going to draw inside of it. And there's three words that came from it. It was choice, growth, and the third one down the bottom is evolution. So this is what you can do. And then that's the whole process finished. So it takes roughly 5 to 10 minutes. And voila. Changing perspective, changing consciousness, amazing insight. It is all yours. And so today, the inquiry that's come up today for me is on the left hand side. I've got what am I feeling? So it's nice to have like how, what, why questions. And then on the other side, which is the second part, is what am I choosing? So I'll probably do this for maybe a couple of minutes, and then this one for a couple of minutes, and then I'll finish and kind of see like, oh, that's really interesting. I wonder what that means. Curiosity is amazing in this particular space. So remember, just a non-dominant hand. Okay. So what we're going to do to settle into this is actually to do 3 rounds of deep breathing. So we're just going to breathe in through the nose. Close your eyes if you want to, invite you to close your eyes down. So breathe in through the nose, potentially for a count of 6, and then breathe out through the mouth like a sigh and elongate it, so potentially for a count of 8. So we'll be in for 6. So two more. One more. It just allows us to sink in to this moment. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a coherence meditation. And so this is linking up the brain, the heart, the stomach, and the womb space together. So take your finger out into space and start weaving these 3 things together in a figure of 8. So you weave the heart, the stomach, the womb. You might be able to see me, but then weave it back in together. So you're creating coherence between the brain, the heart, the stomach, and the womb space. And do this a couple of times, and then back down. And breathing deeply if you can as well. And in your mind, you can say to yourself, I'm creating coherence between my brain, my heart, my stomach, and my womb space, or my pelvic region. And weaving these spaces together. And then you may, feel or sense that these spaces are in alignment. For me, it feels like a coming together, and there's an alignment of the central channel which runs down through the body, connects the crown through to the root, down into the earth and up into the soul star. So it feels like it's all aligning back in together, so that it's all coming straight. And so with that non-dominant hand pen, I'm going to flip the camera around so that you can see what I'm doing. And our first inquiry on the left hand side of the page is, what am I feeling? So let me see. just set up, okay, so non-dominant hand, and you can close your eyes if you want to. And so on the left hand side, what am I feeling? And when you feel or sense that there's kind of no more that wants to come or be said, and we hold the pen lightly in our hand as well. That's the other thing I should have said. And so when we feel like we've finished with this particular inquiry, then we can move to the next one, which is, what am I choosing? Okay. And so now what you can do is you can go in with coloured pen or coloured pencils, and we'll just think, so what am I feeling? So the sensation that I was feeling here was constriction. So I might want to put this over here because this is really where I felt it. So constriction. And if you want to, you can kind of highlight a component of that. See, now I like this bit here, because this is almost like an intersectional component with all of these different lines coming in on this one point. And so I'm just going to put in here integration, because that's the word that's coming up for me about this point around here. And just see if there's anything else that kind of stands out. And this one here, over here in this component, there is the word spaciousness. It's coming from this component here. And so now I'm just going to move over to the second part, and just go, what am I choosing? And so for this component here, or this particular metacognitive drawing component part of it, the words that kept coming through as I was drawing and holding my pen lightly, it was expansion. And these bits here, so from this component back down, and then this back up here, and then back down, I really like this shape. And so this shape, oh, there's actually 3 of them, so it encompasses this one as well. And so what's coming to me from these 3 shapes is this: spirit, soul, body. And so for me, what am I choosing is the element of expansion, but also expansion, spirit, soul, and body. So it's the 3 components of my holistic self that are being expressed today in a capacity for expansion, which is kind of quite interesting. I love the way that metacognitive drawing kind of throws out things for you to experiment with for the day. And so what this together, what am I feeling, what am I choosing, it's showing me that there was a sense of constriction that was coming through as I was thinking about my day, because that's what was happening. And then there was a sense that there's integration that's also happening, but a spaciousness that's coming with it. And then that spaciousness moved into expansion of my spirit, soul, and body. So always taking these 3 elements of my holistic self into consideration when I am creating expansion, so that it can be more in alignment more integrative, more sustainable, more nurturing. And so this is what I'm going to take away today. So in every element of my day, I choose expansion of spirit, soul, body, for sorry, my writing's terrible first thing in the morning, sustainability and nurturing of self and others. And so this little mantra, I guess in a way you could probably call it, is something that I now am going to choose to take into my day. So that's it. That is metacognitive drawing in action. It's something that you can do at any time of the day. I tend to do it like kind of first thing in the morning. It helps me to prepare me for my day like I would for meditation, journaling and yoga. It's kind of the package that I do to help me enter into the day in a more conscious way. And in a more aware way about what's going and what I am choosing to co-create in the world. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Thanks for that, and it's really exciting. If you want to journey with me a little bit more, I've got another 4 days coming up, so it'll be roughly the same time, which is 8 o'clock AEDT time. It's Sydney time, Sydney-Melbourne time in Australia if you're interested. And other than that, if you want to kind of deep dive with me into something a bit deeper, I am actually opening up a program that I'm creating called Transcend, which is a 13-moon intentional creativity, shamanic and intuitive intelligence program, where you kind of do this work inside of it, but in a much deeper and a much more profound, transformative way. So love to do this, and I will see you tomorrow, and it's been amazing. Yay, see ya.